So I've been asked by some old friends of mine to pull back the curtain on human history, to play Toto, as it were. And that's what we're going to do today. The first thing that I want to tell you about it is that belief is irrelevant to the situation. In most circumstances like this, I would be asking you to put aside your own judgment and just believe whatever I have to say. But that's actually counterproductive this time, and I think by the end of the presentation of this information, you'll understand why. Now, another step, and another important step of this is, even if you think this is reasonable and makes sense, you can still ignore it anyway. Like the valid information that smoking leads to cancer. A lot of people know that's true and smoke anyway. And so you can ignore it. This is free will. This is what life is a free will action. And what we're trying to do, my friends and I, is share with you some information, a different way of looking at something, a different way of looking at life, which has been sort of organized by a committee meeting. And I got into the shower. Within about 2 minutes after I was in the shower, she began talking to me, my sister who had passed away 3 hours earlier. Now, I'm not particularly prejudiced against dead people. But I haven't really carried on a lot of conversations with them in my life. I have had a few experiences. Conversations with living people are exotic enough at times, so I haven't really pursued this. But I have had a few other goodbyes from other relatives, and I had one interesting experience with a high school classmate who was trying to reach her sister 20 years ago. And so I have had a few experiences like this over the years. And I know a lot of you have too. A lot of you. Not everybody, but many people have gotten goodbyes from their relatives just before they left. And everybody's embarrassed to talk about this because it doesn't seem rational. And I'm going to try by the end of the lecture to show how rational actually that is compared to the way we look at things. And there were other conclusions. As I said before, there are no rules. No rules, period. That includes sex. There's no rules about sex. We won't lay down any rules about it because sex is neutral like anything else. You can bring to it whatever value you want. And of course, we have preferences about the values you bring to things. And this is not to imply, again, that human society will not make rules. You will not be punished for anything you do or anything you've ever done, either with somebody else or by yourself, not in a spiritual way. Your ex might punish you. But that's a social function. And this is not a spiritual function. And if you have a lot of exes, I want to make this clear, just in case anybody has just fallen asleep. They wanted me to repeat that there are no more rules about sex. Sex is neutral. It's what you do with it that makes a difference, and you should have no fears or anxieties that anything you ever did for however long it has been will ever get you punished or rewarded. It's neutral, and the pleasure you get out of it is yours. That means, of course, that if you want to, you could have 100 wives or 100 husbands. Good luck with that. So, before I get to that, I think it's more important to answer two other questions. Why him, and why not me, for conveying this information? Now, we know what many of you are thinking. You're thinking, I'm much better looking than George is. And many of you are also thinking, I'm certainly more spiritual than George is. And so Maharishi wanted me to convey to everybody that in both cases, this is probably true. I laughed. I said, It's no problem. I said, the task was very philosophical. I said, Socrates set such a low standard for physical beauty, for philosophers, that almost anything is okay, and you can be a philosopher.